Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming today. We're here to celebrate and hear Shirley Tucker today, who's a Dayton-based artist from the Dayton region, and is also a BFA graduate from Wright State University from 1989. And of course, I'd just like to thank you for being here. We've become great friends over this process, and I just want to welcome you all. And on a side note, thank you, Rebecca, for all your help with everything, and the Ohio Arts Council for helping with this exhibit as well. I'd like to just also mention that something a little unusual about what's happening in this space, and you might notice this from the list of titles and so forth, but the works here are for sale, which is not normally what we do in this gallery, but this is actually in part a fundraiser for the Shirley Tucker Endowment Scholarship. And another great thing about Shirley is that she started an endowment here with a foundation to help support students. And really at the core of who Shirley is helping young people.
You guys.
Yeah. And so we appreciate that. So we say thank you for that. Before retiring, Shirley was the head facilitator of the Montgomery County Juvenile Court Art Program called HALO, which stands for Helping Adolescents Achieve Long-Term Objectives. And we're going to hear more about that through our talk today. So again, thank you. And before we start questions, which is just going to be an open discussion, by the way, if you have questions or would like to, it's just a very casual thing. So we welcome your input. So.
I just wanted to see Glenn in the back. It's so great to see you. I was on I've been seeing you since the beginning. This gentleman was the biggest reason why I'm here. So thank you so much.
Wow, cool.
Thank you so much. I was looking rough this day now. It's early in the morning, so.
What I do, I try to tell a story. I love bright, bold colors. Bold colors represent energy. Bold colors represent something positive. Through my work over the years, I've noticed that I'm sending a message. So many things going on right now, so many negative things going on in the community, but there are also a lot of great positive things going on in the community. My name is Shirley Tucker. I am a 1989 graduate of Wright State University. I received my Bachelor of Fine Arts. I am currently the facilitator for our Helping Adolescents Achieve Long-Term Objectives HALO Art Program through Montgomery County Juvenile Court. What we're doing next is we do a lot of community projects and a lot of murals and other great activities throughout Dayton. What are you doing? The circle and this one? Can you do the block? So I designed the artwork. I have my youth out here, and basically I had them assigned to each panel, and they're basically just using their talent and painting and doing what they love doing. It is giving our kids that pride. They're doing something positive. They're giving back to the community. It makes them feel a sense of something that they've actually have accomplished. When I was putting the mural together, I started reflecting about Wright State, the great relationships that I built at Wright State, the education and the art, and just the meaningful behind the university, and how much it really touched me and how it prepared me to be the artist that I am. So I felt that it was important that I wanted to put just a little piece of my history, my education, and I wanted to represent Wright State. Okay, what you're gonna do? You're gonna do this, fight this wall right here. Being in probation, it was a win-win because not only am I taking kids out in the community and working with them, it's giving me a chance to live out my passion as an artist. When you're putting so much of your energy and your passion in what you're doing, at the end, when you see it come to life, you see it from the beginning, and then you see the finished product, it's a feeling I can't even explain.
nice little introduction? That would be great, thank you, appreciate it, okay. So, starting with a few questions here, we'll just kind of keep it casual, but after you received your BFA from Wright State, what was your career trajectory, and how did you start incorporating artwork into that career?
When I graduated from Wright State, I wanted to be a visual merchandiser actually, so I had ended up working for the Alabama Corporation downtown, which is no longer there. But I had gotten married, of course, now. But what had happened was that I had been there maybe about a year, and if you've ever been in the store, I was trying to hang a sign. I was on tall ladders, you know, and I almost fell off the ladder, and they were more concerned about the sign than me. So after that, you know, I really had to make some changes. So what I ended up doing was I ended up walking down to the juvenile court, and I had been there for a while, and then ended up transferring to probation. So it was actually when I ended up getting into the probation department is when I began to really pan out exactly what it is that I wanted to do, the areas that I wanted to focus on. Because for those first 21 years in downtown doing legal work, I never did my art at all. So it wasn't until I transferred to probation I had the opportunity. And then a young lady named Brittany Long, she had started the HALO program through the court, and I ended up being her partner. And then after she left, I became the head facilitator. And then that really opened up a lot of doors and a lot of the way my mind thinks. And it really gave me a chance to really explore a lot of areas of art, and just to kind of find out ways that I can grow and try to grow stronger as an artist, and ways that I can reach out to the community, especially still young people. So that's really where the foundation started. So.
That's great. And then a lot of these mural projects that we saw in the video, and we've got some images here, grew out of the HALO project as well, right?
And so did you want me, because I can go
Sure,
back.
please,
So
please.
she mentioned with HALO, Tracy, helping adolescents achieve long-term objectives. So what it is that it's a program collaboration between the K-12 gallery and the juvenile court. The juvenile court has a foundation that pays K-12 for our youth to go there year-round. So it gives the youth a chance to experience all mediums of art. They're working with a lot of professional artists and just a lot of opportunities for them. The only thing about it is that these youth are troubled youth, most of them, so they're in trouble. So a lot of them are court ordered. They have restitution you have to pay. Some of them are living in foster care that are coming to the program, but they're all court ordered. So it gives them a chance to really do some strength-based projects in a way for them to really overcome some challenges and try to turn that negative energy into something positive. So that's kind of how that happened. So with the HALO program through K-12 Gallery, in 2009 we started doing murals. And K-12 used to be on 5th Street where the Dayton Dragons stadium is over that area. It used to be over there first. And then that's when we first started doing the masterpiece replica paintings of like Monet or things like that. We started those on 5th Street, and they ended up moving them. And then K-12, Jerry Stanton, who's the director of K-12, she would then move over on Jefferson Street, move the K-12 building over there, and then HALO, we just continue to follow. So the program is going strong. Matter of fact, they had a mural dedication yesterday downtown with the garages. Judge Helen Wallace, they had a dedication. So the HALO program is still going very strong. And like I said, it's a great opportunity, but unfortunately, in order to be in the HALO program through the juvenile court, we have to have trouble. So that's the only way you can be in the program. But it's a great program.
What did the young people that you worked with experience under your guidance?
I wanted to show them ways of how they can tap into themselves instead of using all that negative energy, because primarily the youth again that I was working with our youth on probation. So it was a challenge, and anytime you're putting something, especially when you're working with children or young people, you really should be compassionate about it, because if you're not compassionate about what you're doing to serve them, it's going to show. Right. So for me, not having children of my own other than the four-legged kind, it was really a challenge for me, and it really helped me to grow, and it helped me really to appreciate things and learn, you know, really the values of a lot of what young people go through and some of the things that they experience. And so it's just kind of, I use those as tools of ways that I can kind of help them grow and expand and learn to turn that negative energy into a positive space. And that's where the art came. And I always incorporated the art regardless of what it was. And then that even meant through the Juvenile Court Foundation, taking them out to museums, different cities, being involved in different projects, working through other organizations like Hadley, right here in Hadley. Hadley works for the African American Visual Artists Guild. And correct me, Lord, my mind is there. We have a meeting Saturday, so I'm here. What's the name?
Afro-American Museum in Wilberforce.
Yes, sorry. So, and just incorporating things, coming up with ideas, thinking outside the box. Don't just do the norm, you know. So I actually started a Saturday art group as well, and I did that based on youth who were detained in the Nicholas Residential Treatment Center, which is part of the Juvenile Court, as well as CAS, Center for Adolescent Services. These are facilities where youth are also detained, but then they also have artists that come in to run the programs. So I started this Saturday art group because the young men who were at Nicholas, those who were unable to go home, they were able to come to the probation building. And then that gave them an opportunity because think you can't go home, it's the weekend, your roommate or friends are going home, but you've done something, you know, and I'm not saying it's right, your behavior, but still, or it could be a situation where you don't have a home to go home to. Or it could be a situation where you don't want to go home and you have a home because you don't know what's going to happen when you get in your home. So all those elements are what these young people are dealing with. So that's why I created the Saturday Art Group, SAG. And with SAG, it gave me a chance to 5 to 6 hours, take them on field trips and get them involved in, you know, different organizations like we're happy as workshops and things of that nature, just educating them and letting them explore and meeting people. So
That's great. And on that note, you know, your community projects that you've done through Halo and other organizations are collaborative in nature, right? It's you may sort of have some, you know, direction, but it's all that collaborative work that makes it all come together. How do you engage younger people in that collaborative process?
Well, it's pretty simple. It depends on what the project is. We've done more than just murals. So it is really just those relationships that you're building. Like we used to do this called playground art, where we would go around to different facilities and we would have like the large United States, you know, the stencil or the daisy hopscotch, and we would get like Shauna Julian students, Centerville students, whatever, and we would have them actually engage with the youth, the art youth that were in the system. So, and they would just collaborate, and then we would do hands-on projects is what we would do. And that would be, I hope I'm answering the question right. That would be one way that we would collaborate. And then of course the murals. And that's just almost like paint by number. You know, you project the, any of you guys worked on murals before? Have any of you worked on murals? So you know the impact of, it's a different feeling when you're working on a mural.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you can do all day. Is that something to you? It kind of like feeds you energy. So basically it's like, you know, you freehand it or project it, and then basically you're filling it in is what you're doing, because it's already, I don't know how you guys, mine is already colored out as far as the images on the wall. All they have to do is look at what they're doing, but still it's that process of them taking forth the challenge, because a lot of times when if you're unfamiliar with doing something, you're kind of hesitant to do it, but it's like you find that place to where you go ahead and you decide, okay, I'm gonna step out and try it. Because I've had kids who refused, who didn't want to do it, and I don't know how to paint, I don't know how to draw, and before the day was over with, I couldn't get, you know, like, put the brush down, you know what I mean? Time to go in, because they were able to come out of their comfort zone, but then that goes back to knowing that there was someone to push you along, you know. So.
Yeah, and I would imagine being able to just see that progress, step back, so you know, you're really close working at a mural, and then you step way back, and there's something coming together with these other people, and so you see, it's almost like puzzle pieces that are being put together. And
but one of the greatest things is the community, the support you get from the community. You know, like when we're out there, because we're out there sometimes for hours, sometimes I'm like 9 o'clock in the morning till like 4, and you know, just to get the community input. You know, you got people honking their horns, you know, and it's hot, you know, it's 90 degrees, we're thirsty, we're trying to get water. You know, you got the, I'll say the Victory Project, and Hapner came to that dedication, but it's like we're out there, we're hot, and you know, it's like you have people coming out giving us water, and I mean, just people just making all kind of people getting out of cars, and people bringing us food. I mean, it's such a great collaboration, especially when you're doing those type of community activities. Because look at what you're doing. You're getting an attraction, but it's a positive attraction. And and then it's giving people a feeling. You know, you could have a bad day. Things could be going on. One person walked up to us and they were like, "You guys don't know. You're inspiring our neighborhood. You know, there's so much crime going on here. There's so much graffiti going on, and you're giving us a positive message. And then look at what it's doing for their community and their neighborhood, and ways of how that can bring people together. So it's a win-win, no matter how you look at it."
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you know, on the same note, you know, community outreach and engagement is so important to you. And you know, working with young people in particular. Coming back to this exhibit, can you discuss a few pieces in this exhibit that express those kind of connections?
Okay, I would say I will start back in the back. Those panels in the back, those were 8-foot panels, and Morris Howard is an artist here in Dayton as well, who's worked with our youth. And Morris Howard and I, we collaborated with the boards. It's called the Boards of Recovery, is what it's called, through the Dayton Fellowship Club. And what we did was we were able to put on a project where we combined the Halo students from the court with students from Dunbar High School. So we collaborated those over at CSU West in Germantown, and what we did was that we just kind of brought up social issues, mental health issues, things that are affecting those individuals in general, but specifically from that organization. So what we did was that I challenged them to think of ways to come up with a creative ideal concept based on if they've had any personal experiences or family or stories or whatever. So I had them come up with a way to challenge it, and that's how they came up with the design. So there's actually 12 panel boards. I just brought 3 because they have to stand in 3s. But it was just a great collaboration because in the process they were creating, but then they were also learning at the same time, and then learning to appreciate a lot of things that we may take for granted, and then just not being aware of what's involved with mental health and people who are suffering, struggling, and that type of thing. So this was a great community collaboration right there. The Boards of Recovery, and then another one would be, let's see. So do you want me so much for the piece to compare to a community project, or can it be a personal story?
Yeah, please, anything.
Okay, well, let me do this one. You can't see this here. This is we wear masks. That's what this one is right here. And so this involves the Dayton Art Institute. So, and this is a combination of the Halo Youth and the Saturday Art Group. Most of the kids, of course, again, were from Nicholas or Cass, and just their stories about we were in masks. Are you guys familiar with who Paul Lawrence Dunbar is? He's a poet. He's a poet here in Dayton, and his poems are very rich and they're very meaningful. So I had a talk with the kids, with the youth, and the thing is that even sometimes, even with us, have you ever felt like you have to put on a mask? Have you ever felt like you have to protect yourself because you may be going through something, but you don't want anyone to see or to reveal what it is that you're feeling? So for me, I wanted to really tap in with these young people, and when the Dayton Art Institute had reached out to us, and they actually had the exhibit on Paul Lawrence Dunbar, and then that's how I came up with the concept. Oh, it would be really cool to really have them really come up with something to actually create the mask. Well, the Dayton Art Institute, they thought the masks were painted on the canvas, and they were amazed when they saw that they were active masks, but very personal because they took the time to create their own personal perspective and their identity of who they are. And then I just put some of them on there, and then so it actually made it in the Dayton Art Institute. So that I have this over here on the wall, and then you can see a few of the images and everything, and then the poem, and it just tells you like. Okay, so one person said, let me find it quick. Okay, about the math project, a Halo student wrote, first comes pain about something you have to go through, but through the battle you will find peace. Losing my brother was the pain for me. The sad student added, the guilt hurts. At the end of the day, my haters still hate. Laughter shows on the outside, but I feel like crying on the inside. So it was just, it was a very, very meaningful project in the way that we were able to have those students. And then the students, we actually took a field trip to the Dayton Art Institute. Some of them had never been to the Dayton Art Institute. And that was really sad, because for you to be in Dayton, everyone in Dayton should at least say that they've been to the Dayton Art Institute. So, especially with you being an artist. So I took them there, and I mean, just when we walked in, just to get the warm welcome, and they just thought they were celebrities, when we walked in, but it just built their confidence up, and they really understood the meaning behind we wear the mask, and they understood that even though sometimes that they too put on a mask, it's okay to do that. It's a time and a place that never, but it's okay to have those fears, but remove those fears, and then that's where it comes into, not being afraid to be who you are. So.
Oh, wow, that's great. Let's actually come back to the exhibit since we were talking in here, and let's maybe we could discuss the name of the exhibition, Through Their Eyes, which is this piece, the first piece of the exhibition on the wall over there.
Okay.
Can you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, so let me just so Through Their Eyes is based on individuals that have had an impact in my life. So majority of my work, every single piece in here, at least 90% of the images are people that I know. So I always incorporate, because that's what makes it really meaningful, and it's how I come up with my creative process. But Through Their Eyes, this young man right here, this is Noah Hatley's son. It's my nephew. And like I said, there's other people, I have classmates, these are their kids, but this young man, Tristan, his mom flew in from Denver. This young man died by suicide. So when I'm putting things together, everything literally has a personal story. It's just my way of how I'm bringing it out. But I'm just gonna pull Tristan out, and then he's a great example, because he was, it was in 2014, this young man had all these things going for him, and he ended up taking his life. And what happened was that he was the only child of his parents, and like I said, his mom flew here from Denver to be here because I reached out to ask that I incorporate him in my artwork, and that's mainly, I'll ask people if I can incorporate. So the thing with Tristan is that he died 2 weeks before he was to graduate from high school. And I wanted to focus on that because through that dark period and that suffering that he went through, and then even with his death, and you can imagine his parents, what they were going through, and his family, they bought tickets to come to Dayton for your graduation, and then now he's gone. How do you process that? So Through Their Eyes is just stories where I'm trying to share the impact of what can happen when you're sharing stories through the eyes when you look through someone else. And because of this now, here moving forward, this was in 2014, his parents have become an advocate to where they've been to the state capitol, they've been to the White House. I mean, they've been walking, they've done everything as far as advocates, putting the word out. And when Teresa was here, she actually had the vans, the information on suicide, and through his death, she's become an advocate. So I want to, so that's part of that. Even in those darkest times, look what came out of it. So Tristan is now speaking through her. And if you could just see how excited and happy she was, and how filled she was, because it's almost like, there's still hope in what's going on. So that's basically what it's about. Even over here with the dogs, I wanted to do something different. The young lady I was talking to her about, I wanted to do something different because right now, the population, what's going on with dogs being abandoned and dogs not being, and situations happening where, you may not be able to financially be able to take care of them, but in most cases, they're just being abandoned, left, with no one to care for them. Dogs are man's best friend. And I'm certainly compassionate because those are my children. That's all I've ever heard of dogs. And the thing is that, right now, shelters were at capacity. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to put a piece together that represents the life of a dog through a dog's eye. You know, what do dogs see, because dogs don't see color, but everything in here is color. So I actually flipped it in reverse, is what I did. So, you know, they don't see it, but they feel it, because they feel us. So I wanted to just put something literally as if walking, because I have to walk my labradoodle every day, literally 2 or 3 hours, which is probably more than I would have got a labradoodle or step with the other two. But anyway, I just wanted to come up with something that just basically represented through the eyes of the dog. And then I ended up getting the French Bulldog. And when I ended up getting the French Bulldog, I wanted to still think outside of that process, because in the dog's world, do we really know what the dog sees? Do we know how a dog thinks? You know, because I think my dogs are talking to me all the time. So that's when they get the toilet paper. The toilet paper runs all the time. I told the cushion last night. But the thing is that I wanted to, instead of making it a regular dog, or ordinary dog, what would they see and what are they seeing in us? So I decided to make it a tiger. So that's why I did that. Just doing something different from the, because I feel her vibe right here. Something just different from the ordinary. So that's what basically Through Your Eyes is about. Is my stories of people and situations and places that I've been, and how I'm able to capture through my eyes the impact that they've had on me, or the impact that I've had on them. So.
And along those lines, there's, you know, these people that you know that are part of these paintings and that you've done and drawings. Like, I mean, you have this, you know, tribute to Dayton over here that's, you know, was behind us, and other people you know. Can you elaborate a little bit more on some? You can pick certain pieces or
yes, well,
in general.
Okay, so we'll go. So with the Dayton piece, I just wanted to, after doing all these thrills and everything, I just really wanted to do a tribute to Dayton. So I actually was connecting with Evan Moses. I don't know if you guys see a Olympian from Dayton. And I was connecting with him. I went back and forth, you know. I'm saying to myself, okay, you know, and just getting some input, insight on a few things. But Martin Sheen, Irma Bombeck, who's a writer, Allison Janney, people who have made great strides and contributions to our community, and people that we look up to, people that I look up to, and that I see on TV or see in different places, and just the positions that they've been. And then the music, you know, Dayton, we're known as the birthplace of funk. You know, we've done the funk mural and then other collaborations. So I just wanted to celebrate Dayton. And I couldn't put everybody on here because, you know, we have the Wright brothers and we have Lawrence Dunbar and all these other individuals who have done great things. But I just wanted to just pick out a few who personally have had an impact in my life and the things that I see and what I've learned from them. And then the two young people in the back, those are actually my high school classmates' kids. So I asked, could I put them, and I just kind of wanted to show a little bit of diversity. And of course, with the background of the city of Dayton, I just kind of wanted to just kind of do like a tribute and then just basically instill people and how I see them and the impact that they've had on me and the impact that they might have had on some of you or other people. So, and then the painting right there, I wanted to talk about that one real quick. The two girls is called Hidden Tears. And Hidden Tears is two sisters that were in our foster care system. They were separated at one point, but then they ended up getting back together. Those two young ladies were African students of mine that I had since they were 12. And now they're 18 and 21. And now they're a part of my Saturday art group that I started at Black Power Gallery around the Dothan. They had reached out to me, they needed something to do. One is at Daybreak now. One, I don't know where they're at. You know, but it goes back to the same thing. So I started the Saturday art group where they were reaching out to me as a way to maybe get them back involved, as well as connecting with, again, other children and other people in the community organizations where we can make a difference. So that story, if you can look at it, and it tells a lot just looking at it, but thinking and knowing where they started and where they are now, you know, there's still a long way for them to go, but there's still hope. So I wanted to highlight that one as well. So is there any other piece, anybody have anything that you would like to know about, or anything? And then let me talk about this real quick in the back.
Yeah.
Here I go. This one in the back is called Two Paths Diverge, with the flowers. And sometimes what I'll do, especially with juveniles, juvenile cases are confidential, So like, if you notice in the video, everything, you never saw their face. Even when we're doing murals or whatever projects I'm doing, you'll never see me post it on the internet. You know, now when I have an event going on or something like that, I might display it like the board back here. But this young man is actually 17 years old, but I made him to look like he was younger than that, and that was on purpose to protect his identity. Okay, but two paths divergence really lead. This young man is residing at Nicholas, one of the facilities, and you know the thing in his situation is that when it was time for him to go, he ran. So I didn't understand because, you know, he has a good home, you know, he's been able to get back home with his family, be reunited, you know, after being in Nicholas for 2 years. And I'm like, you know, why are you running? So he ended up reaching out to me and I said, well, where are you at? You know, because I'm like, you know, they're looking for you. And then he's like, I don't want to go home. I didn't understand the concept because I'm like, why would you want to go home? Two paths diverges is that he's debating, he's in the field debating which way does he want to go. Does he want to move forward or does he want to go back with his friends? Because at Nicholas, he has that foundation. He has people that understand him. He has people who are in the same boat he's in that he can relate to because they're there to detain in Nicholas and they're not with their families. Or do you want to move forward and go home and then you're with mom and dad and you got to talk about school, college, and all these other things. He was struggling on what to do. And I couldn't give him the answer to that other than just talk to him and just share something with him. But this is a piece that I get a lot of people, they enjoy hearing the story behind this because I feel it's very powerful. Because at the end, he moved forward instead of moving backwards. Because moving backward only gets you nowhere other than locked up or maybe even take your life. But he decided to move forward. This young man ended up graduating from college, got a degree, has a family, and is doing well.
And I think this is I have some more questions, but I think this is a good opportunity to pause. And are there any questions from the audience that we can engage? And we can come back here, I think, just to, so we can see everything okay. Yeah.
So Shirley, I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more specifically about your experience with mural painting. Like, what was the first mural you worked on, and if you had any kind of sort of formal training with that, or if you are completely self-taught, you know, with murals?
Well, you know, I with the murals, I had to be self-taught because I jumped right in. That was the interesting thing. You know, I didn't even know I knew how to do a mural. But it's just like I said, to me, in my mind, I made it like a big, to me, it's like a big poster, or, you know, that's kind of how the approach that I took to it. So, but I'm trying to think the very first mural that I did, because I've done so many, done like over 20 murals. I can't even remember what the first one is. Sad. I can't remember what happened to get over 60. Let's see. I can't remember. That's sad. I'm sorry. I can't remember. That's bad, isn't it? Because I've done so many. I can't remember what the first one that I did, but they're all different. And then again, collaborating with the community, especially those organizations. Oh, wait a minute. I think the first one might have been, and you guys know Scott Gibbs?
Yeah.
He's an artist, and Scott is, that's my adopted brother. And Scott was one of the artists who was hired through K-12 to work with our youth. So a lot of the artists in the area have all worked with them on murals. But Scott Gibbs, that would be the first one. Over on 5th Street, 5th and Hamilton, it's like a long mural where the train tracks are at.
Yeah.
So that was one of the very earlier ones. And I remember because it was my first time getting up on, what is the,
Scissor lips.
oh my goodness, yeah, I'm like, oh God, you know, so I'll never forget that experience. But then I got used to it, and that's the thing. And once you find out how to do something, you overcome that fear. It becomes like you become obsessed with it. If that makes sense. Next thing you know, Scott was like, oh my goodness, you don't need any help. Now I'm like, no, I got this. I'm good now. So yeah.
Can you talk about some of your artistic influences?
My art teacher, Dan McCauley, at Meadowdale, was one of the people who really got me started. But as far as artists, Pablo Picasso was someone that I was just infatuated with. I was just, and that's abstract. And I was just so infatuated with him, and I would read as much as I could, and I studied his art, the way he would think. And then Michelangelo was another one. And just the process of the vision and how things were put together and how he's seeing things. So I had a few other ones, but those are two of my favorite that I really spent a lot of time with. You know, at Wright State, I don't know if you guys know, I had to take a whole lot of history classes. And oh my goodness, you talk, ooh, it was a challenge, but it was just so interesting to me. The history and then just the way my instructors explained everything to me, but it was definitely a challenge with history. So I would say, and then David Leach.
Oh,
Yeah, was the chair when I was here. And he was very influencing as far as in my art, as far as taking time out with me and just really, wanting to know, what do you want to do, or, what is it that you want to do? And he just challenged me. So he was a great influence.
yeah.
So
He's an emeritus faculty.
yeah. So it was very much, and then, my mom was an artist, but my mom was my biggest one as far as, she was a retired educator, she's now deceased, but as far as still challenging me, and things of that nature.
And she was a great advocate.
Yeah, great advocate, yes.
So your mom was an educator,
Yeah.
and then you get thrown or you jump into this situation where you're managing young people without having any training on educating and interacting. So what did that feel like to you? Was that very natural because you were raising it all through art?
When you know what's interesting, and this is crazy how all this tied in, and just so you guys know, your life is a script. It's already written out for you. We may not know that, because a lot of times, you're not gonna know everything, but as time goes on, it'll click sooner or later. So, rewinding way back, if I wouldn't have transferred over to probation, when I left Elder Beerman, I just walked down to the court. If I would have stayed in legal, I never would have gotten probation. I never would have gotten probation. I never would have got to work with the kids. I told my mother I did not want to teach art. She kept trying to get me to I didn't want to teach art. I just wanted to do art.
Yeah.
That's the crazy. But the thing about it is how things happen is that I've been having these flashbacks since I can remember, and I kept picturing this I keep seeing this little girl in my vision drawing these kids, and I don't know. I'm like, what's up with these kids? I didn't understand it, but my mom was telling me, and I don't remember a lot. I don't remember. My mother told me that I used to have dolls, and I would sit them up as if I was teaching them art. I was a teacher. I don't remember any of that. Okay, literally, I don't remember any of that. So then, moving fast forward, when I was downtown, I just was having, ever since I left Elder Beerman, I started having these visions, and I'm like, why do I keep thinking this little girl? She's maybe 10, and she's just drawing these kids, and I'm like, what's up with the kids? I had that vision all the way up until I got to the court. So think of how many years that was. And the thing is that I never knew what it meant, but when you guys reached out to me about doing the show, and I knew that I had to come up with a theme and come up with what I wanted to do, I just started. I didn't realize what I was doing. I didn't realize that literally everything is based around children. Every single thing that I've been doing all this time, and I didn't know it. So it was already in me. So I was the little girl. I was the little girl with the vision. I mean, the little girl, and it kind of bothered me because I'm like, is something going on here? You know what I mean? I'm like, is it something? Because it was just odd that she would pop in my head, and I could visually see the image, and it was always the same kids I was drawing. It's almost as if it was almost, I don't know how to explain it, but that went on for several years, and I never knew what it meant. So, but my point is that it was already planned out. It was meant for me to get to the probation department. It was meant for me to become a facilitator in the art program, and then that's how those kids, how that would come to play. So I know now my vision was already in front of me before I even knew it.
And actually, on that note, that's a great jumping off point. what, you have a lot of students in here, and what advice do you have for young students, young artists going out into the world?
You guys are pretty much, what year are you?
Senior.
Senior.
Oh, seniors. And I know you're different, maybe.
Freshman.
Freshman.
I'm
Do you, what I would do for me, or advice I would give you is, don't set too many high expectations. You want to set expectations now, but you want to go in it realistically. Because in my case, I just thought, I got this degree, I got it going on. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of people out here. There are a lot of artists out here. I'm gonna be honest. And they're and no matter what the field is you're in, regardless of what it is, the thing is that have an open mind. Go in with an open mind. Do what you can as far as learning as much as you can. Sometimes people think that you're supposed to start off with an art paint job in the beginning, and it doesn't work like that. So what I would do is that even if you have to volunteering really is actually a good thing. You'll be surprised the opportunities you can have when you volunteer, and then just getting connected with people, learning about organizations, and just being visible. But I would just take your time and focus. Start trying to stay grounded, and don't let anybody take you off your path. Don't do that either. So just stay focused and grounded, and you can have more than one career also. Because I never thought that I would combine the criminal justice as a probation officer and the art and how it can actually work. So the sky's the limit. There's nothing you can't do. So.
The argument that was, I think the quote here at Professor, those who often take the road to avoid the destiny often ending up facing it.
And you're quoting someone?
This was from
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, sort of something like that.
Yeah, I mentioned a lot of times students. I think this is what you're getting to.
Yeah.
Is it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, just think. Look how long. I mean, I graduated in 1989, and I really feel like honestly, I'm really now. I was doing my art with the court, but the thing is, I'm really now tapping into myself. So thank you for coming. I'm really, so it is a process. So don't feel like, because it's not, it may not happen overnight for you. Yeah. But it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
What makes you say you've been successful? What defines success for you in art?
For me, I guess my thing is, I guess I'm so busy focusing on other people. You know what I mean? I don't look at it. For me, a success is these kids. A success is my show because I'm still telling their story. So I guess I never, you know what I mean? I'm like a bunny. I'm always moving all over the place, So I know that I never thought that I would be in this place sitting here. I never thought that I would be asked to have a show here. I never thought that I would be given an endowment scholarship in my name. I never thought that I would say I've done over 20 murals. I never thought any of that. But a lot of times you don't want to overthink things. A lot of times you might step ahead and you never want to overthink things because sometimes it may not turn out or it may not be the best fit for you. So that's why I say I would just take it at a time, but you definitely want to always look for opportunities and you want to always challenge yourself and then always give and be the best you can. But don't expect everything to happen overnight because I can't see it happening. And then you gotta look at where you're at. Now we're in Dayton, Ohio, okay? So, look at the population here. If you were in New York, or if you were in Florida, California, you gotta look at what's going on there. But my thing is really no matter where you at, you can make what you want. You make who you are, regardless of where you are. But always remember too to give back. Always remember to give back and then get involved in another organization. I don't know if you guys have to do credit to get any type of credit. Do they have to think, for classes, something like that? Yeah. So and then reach out to people and try to see how you can be of assistance to someone else, even if it's not in your field that you're in, because that helps you grow as an individual.
because you want to be able to communicate with people and know what's going on around you. But people see that you're a person that's willing to be diverse. You'll be surprised when doors open for you, because you can always grow and learn. I'm still learning at 61. I'm still learning. So you can never not learn enough. Yes, you can never not learn enough. So just always have a better, positive attitude with whatever you do. If you can, try to get back and try to, because even though you'll be helping somebody, you'll be getting a greater blessing in return. Because the more you do, the more blessings you'll receive. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to pause for a second. I do know that some people have to go to class. We can sit here and chat, and we can keep the discussion going. I'm not trying to push anyone away.
Do I have to go?
You can add well. Do you have to go to class?
Remember what we just talked about? But you know what? But one thing, and I hope this will be okay.
Please.
I can give you guys my cards. If you guys ever, want to reach out to me, I do a lot of community.
You can always reach out to me, and I can always put you in touch.
Thank you. And but I'm always doing community projects all the time. And then I'm still connected with Hatley and other people and other organizations that I'm doing things with. But yeah, there's always opportunities. And I'll come out. Normally I typically try to do a mural a year. It just depends. But it's no guarantee. It's no guarantee. But normally if I have an opportunity, maybe through a grant or what have you, I try to see if I can pay money to the artist. But you know what, it may be opportunities to where you may not get paid. So my thing is personally, don't always turn on an opportunity, especially if you can fit it in your schedule. If you can volunteer and do a project, a mural, go to a school, work on something with the students, try to do that. Because those are things really that will also prepare you. Because then you might find yourself doing something, you might say, well, I may not want to do this. You might decide that it may not be what you want to do. So that's why the more you work on things, the more you do hands-on, then those answers will come to you, and then you may find that you are in a place that where you need to be.
And you get to meet people that you maybe.
Yeah, I met so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met so many people, and I've been connected with so many people just from doing my art. I've had celebrities, I've had people reach out to me, and it's just overwhelming. You wouldn't think the type of people that would reach out to you, but a lot of times what you do could reach someone else. Your message can reach someone else, and when people can see what you're passionate about, and they feel your energy, and they know that you're trying to make a difference, then that's when a lot of things will happen.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we had a reception on Saturday night for this exhibition, and I have to say that your community of people is just beautiful, right?
I do have a strong base people. My former supervisor, Jennifer Petrella, is now a judge. Jennifer Petrella for Domestic Relations Court, and then former Mayor Tribal Mary McDonald, now our county commissioner. She's there. She's a good friend of mine. So I've had people who have just been there, who have just reached out. James Pate, who see you guys later. James Pate, who I don't know if you guys have heard of James Pate. Yeah, I'm his docent at Black Palette Gallery, but him and Scott Gibbs and just so many people that I've been able to meet with and just collaborate with. Yeah, it's just been really a great experience for me. So, and then Rosa Rohan, she's the curator for the museum at Global Force. So just a lot of people. And then like I said, when you get connected with people, and Judith, and then all you guys, it really makes a difference. Even the collaborating with you a couple weeks ago, when you just never know, how people can make you feel and what you can learn from them, and just the impact that they can have on you. So I don't take anything for granted. I'm very humble. I appreciate everything anyone has done for me. So all I'm doing is trying to give back. That's all.
And that's honestly one of the things I so appreciate about who you are. It's not about what can the world give to me. It's so much about what I can.
Yeah, that's why when you ask me that, I'm so busy. Right now in my mind, it's like, okay, I know I had this going on, and I got my Saturday art group
at the gallery once a month. So my mind now is, okay, you know, where am I going to focus with these young people that are coming to the gallery? You know, so it's always been about other people. That's just where my mind has been focused.
One thing that has always struck me about your work is your ability to capture the expressions of your subjects so beautifully. I mean, every face tells a story, and I think really striking in a space like this where I see, you know, all of their faces together. Is your process like subconscious? I mean, does that just sort of like come really naturally to you, or is it really a long process of editing to get it exactly right? Like,
I don't even use a computer. That's not even I need another laptop. I don't that's what I was saying. Everything is done freehand.
yeah.
I don't, except for when I had to do a large mural, you know, that I can't obviously do a scale, you know, that I project with a projector. But I was telling them, you know, every artist has a process. Everything is done in black and white. That's my process. Everything I come up with in my head, once I get the subject matter, I just draw it out. And then when I draw it, I literally color it in all black and white first. Then I bring the color in last. That's through color theory that I do. Because I don't even know what the colors are. I don't have a clue what the colors are. That's the challenging part. Because it tells a story as I'm working through it. It's like I'm building it together, like almost like a sculpture piece. I'm building it together. Same thing like with the mannequin. I didn't know. I didn't know. I just did everything black and white. So that's just my process. Everything is black and white, and I don't use a computer or anything for the images. I can't draw by memory. Now, everything is drawn from a picture. So like, say for example, I know that's my cousin Leanne Sharon. Okay, I drew her from a picture because I take pictures of my family. You know, I'm in a family reunions, you know, that type of thing. So I'll take a picture of something. I'll take a picture of you, and then I can reproduce the exact thing looking at it because I'm studying it. I'm learning who it is, especially if there's a story behind it. If there's a story behind it, it's easy for me to come up with a concept because all I'm doing is drawing out what's already in my head and what I've been told or what I see for myself.
But there's something special you do where I'm just going to agree with you that you kind of absorb their energy somehow, and then it just comes out through your drawing. That's a singular talent.
It is because I guess I can't solve the problem, or I mean, I be walking in their shoes, but I feel it. I feel their presence. I feel the energy of what they're going through, or even if it's a good story or whatever it is, I actually feel it. So when I feel it, I have to show it. The only way I can show it is to draw it out. And I may not be able to say it, but in my mind I have all this, and then I'll do 2 or 3 different images and change them around, switch it up until I get it right. And I can't stop until it has to fit like a glove. And then once I get the black and then I never add color. Color is never added until the black and white is complete. And then I just bring the color in. So,
I think you really help us feel it too.
it's very personal, you know. It is very personal. So because like I said, you know, that the court was my life. And then not everybody in here is related to the court, but there's family in here, like friends, you know, different people. This gentleman back in the back with Ohio State, he was here Saturday. He's a retired administrator from what is called Washington Courthouse. That's his grandson. But then he's a Browns fan, which I'm not. And then Ohio State, of course, I'm a Steelers fan. But he
What? I'm from Washington Courthouse. What's his name?
Fred Williams.
Frank Williams?
Yeah.
I don't know if I know him.
Okay.
Very small place though.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's a great guy. So he had reached out to me, and then I love a challenge. That's the thing. I don't like things that are simple. I don't like when it's easy. So they tell me what they want, and then I just come up with the design. Is what I come up with. I like it when you leave it up to me for me to use. Now I've done murals to where they've drawn out the whole thing, and they'll say, okay, paint this. Okay, I'll just do it like we have it. But I prefer to challenge myself because then I'm able to put on paper my interpretation because I'm telling my story through what I see in them. So.
When did you start with the clocks, and how many times have you used the clocks?
I started with the clocks last year because my cousin from Tennessee, Philip, that was here at this time, it's been a couple of years when I had the endowment here. And they were in my house and I was showing him something and he was looking at some of the art on my wall and he was like, you're really doing some neat stuff. He said, you ever thought about, he said, doing something different? He said, because it's like your art, almost like it moves out of time, or tells time. I can't remember all he was saying and I thought, oh, look at this. And then it just popped in my head, I'm gonna do a clock. And then I thought, okay, well, I don't want to do a clock like you do a normal clock. So I decided to make it on canvas, and I call it hot clocks. So history of time, HOT. That's what I call their H. So I think it's on one of where is it? It's on one of the little logo I made up. Oh yeah, right here. See, this is hot, and that stands for history of time because I'm still going back in time. I'm still showing a personal story about someone, about their history,
But right now, in the political, also the environmental situation, clocks have come to represent, we're ready now.
Yes, yes.
And so it very much
Yeah.
has that kind of feeling to it, of urgency with this visual message that I really appreciate.
Thank you. So I did, and then sometimes, I don't know for you guys, sometimes you can be working on something and then something comes out and you didn't even mean for it to even do that, but in the process, it's already developed anyway. And then it the form ends up that way, like, oh wow, this is even better than what I was, because it's almost like it's already feeling you, it's already in your mind already, it's feeling your energy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for sticking around.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything. It's been a great experience, and like I said, if you guys have any questions, go to Tracy, and she can get a hold of me if you want me to. They're doing a project. If you guys are working on something,
You could come critique.
yeah, and you want me to come out, I would be more than glad. I would love to hear about your process and what you're doing, and some of the ideas that you're thinking about as far as when you graduate. What direction are you thinking about going to? What are you leaning on? And then, if it's, because you guys are, photographer? Painting. Because see, it could be a thing of, because I know so many people in the area, and then like Hatley is in Wilberforce, you never know the connections that you can get. A lot of times, sometimes it is who you know. It could be a thing that, you may be like, hey, Miss Shirley, I may be, and then a lot of the time they call me Miss Shirley too, that wasn't intent. And the kids at the court, I wanted them, real quick, when I transferred to probation, I didn't know what I wanted them to call me, because I had to find my own. You had to find my voice, and I didn't know how to do that. So I didn't want them to call me Miss Tucker, or, I wanted to be able to connect with them, so I said, well, call me Miss Shirley, because I wanted the kids to be comfortable. But then everybody, the staff, everybody called me Miss Shirley, and I'm like, wow, that's how it only meant, then in my family, I'm like, everybody, church people, my sorority sisters, Miss Shirley, so I just went with it, so, but yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid. I know you guys, Vera Tracy and Rebecca are outstanding, two of the most wonderful people I've met. And, just don't be afraid. Sometimes, we might be hesitant and not so much with them, with anybody, or even with your family or your parents. Never be afraid. Because deep down inside, you already know what you want to do. And at the end, you already know what's best for you. You know that. But sometimes we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. And that was my biggest problem. And had I not done that, I wouldn't be sitting here in this room right now. I would have retired from downtown, doing legal, issuing warrants, and removing kids from children's services and all that crazy child support, locking up dads. I was dealing with all that craziness, and just think if I would have stopped out on faith and transferred to probation, knowing what I was up against, because honestly, it was a lot, but not knowing that, but I took a chance.
Yeah.
I took a chance, and that's what you guys do. So never disguise someone. There's nothing that you cannot do. Anything you said to do, you make you a vision board, is what you do. I have a vision board, and you put those visions and those steps, the process of where you wanna go, and you start it off, and then you may not know where all you wanna go, but I guarantee you, once you get to that point, all those things you've been wanting to do, things that you didn't even think you wanted to do, you'll be surprised how that will have an